Hello everyone, this is Sky here to bring you another video. I am posting so much this month. We are in social distance quarantine mode, and yeah, there's a lot of time to do YouTube, but I'm doing so much and it's been a really exciting journey. Hit the subscribe button below if you're new, and welcome back if you're not. We are talking about a super exciting topic today, which is the teamwork that we see happening between Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn. I was just looking and tracking their movements for the rest of 2020 today, and this video may very well be the first of many videos that we talk about, as Jupiter and Pluto will be really close together in Capricorn for pretty much the rest of 2020 with their retrograde cycles and their movements. So for sure until the end of November 2020, they are close in orb for the most part. And then in December, they will start to separate more, and by the beginning of 2021, they will officially move apart. But I think that this is a very fascinating energy combination and signature to be seeing right now. There are so many different interpretations for this combination of energies. It can go so many different directions, because you have the intensive planet of transformation, healing, regeneration, death, rebirth, Pluto, coming together in conjunction with the expansive, also intensifying, aggrandizing energy of Jupiter. So basically, however you see Pluto functioning, whether it be in its more destructive, reformative version of itself, or whether it be in its more healing, rejuvenating form of itself, you're going to see an expansion and an intensification of that, an intensifying of that. You never know, guys, I'll make up words without realizing it. But anyway, so yeah, it's not a surprise that we are dealing with mass disease with Jupiter and Pluto conjunct. It's no surprise that we are dealing with some of our biggest fears, which here in the United States, the United States is a Cancer, deals with fourth house, staying home, not being able to leave the house, terrifying for some Americans. You see, I think as Americans, and this isn't a video about America or the United States, but this is a video about facing big fears with Jupiter-Pluto conjunct. And if, as you know, here in the U.S., is we have the worst, most potent, supposedly, versions of this virus, we are forced to stay in, and that's really driving some people crazy, And it's not just about that. It deals with money, it deals with economics, it deals with finance. Both of these planets, Jupiter and Pluto, are money planets, especially when they come together. Pluto, even more so than Jupiter, is a money planet, but they're both money planets, financial implications. And what is money? It's not even just money, it's what we own, what we have a claim to, what we derive and generate power from, which for a lot of people is money. And that's changing. And whenever we have a strong combination of Jupiter and Pluto, what we do see is a definite transformation in value and ideals and philosophy as well. So Pluto kind of intensifies the Jupiterian idea of philosophy, what we attribute value to in life, how we philosophize around themes like money, death, rebirth, connection, in anything like that. So all of those things are changing right now, and it's a lot to take in, and it's really shocking for some people. So one thing that I have to start, we're going to start with the difficult things, and then we're going to work our way into the really wonderful things. I kind of like to do it that way and end on a nice note. So for those of us who have some emotional pent up pain, for those of us who feel like we are pushed to the edge, pushed to the limit, like we're not operating with a lot of emotional health or mental health, perhaps struggling with depression or anything there, this time we'll try that, okay? Jupiter-Pluto connection is always going to test the psychology and test the emotional resilience of people, because it's kind of like when it rains, it pours, is the energy of a Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. And being that they're in Capricorn, it is an earth sign. It is going to have to do with more tangible things. It's not quite as emotional. Like, for example, if this were like a Jupiter-Pluto conjunction in like Scorpio or a water sign, it would be a lot more to do with emotions. But it's really going to be our emotions as they relate to our bank accounts, our belongings, the things that we use to derive value from. That's going to be a big thing for a lot of people. So one of the first things that you can do as Jupiter and Pluto is in effect right now in its early stages, is start to release certain rigidity around your concept of value, money, power, glory, freedom, things like that. Because I think that the people who struggle most with a Jupiter-Pluto contact are people who are very rigid and who have a very set expectation of where they're going to see themselves. It's really interesting. Right before all of this happened, right before we had this outbreak, I came into contact with a video talking about some Taoist principles of rigidity and becoming more flexible and more adaptable to our paths. And it was a big wake-up call for me. If I can find the video, I will link it below. I don't even remember who did it, or it was like I just wondered upon it, and then I didn't even realize the significance of it until like a few days after I'd seen it. And it just was really a light bulb moment for me. But it went something along the lines of like, we only find like a lot of pain and a lot of suffering when we rigidly dictate what our futures have to look like, or what our belongings will end up looking like with time. We have to be more flexibly adaptable to what life gives us. So, for example, with me, I used to really like every single day, because I'm self-employed. I work from home. So every single day I would leave the house and I would get nice coffee, nice food. It was like my reward for working really hard at home, because I didn't get a lot of like social activity. So I would like make friends with the baristas. I would, talk to people who were out. It is how I kind of socialized. And immediately once we went into quarantines, I felt like I was having withdrawals, not only from not having like the coffee and the caffeine, but because of like being completely to myself as a self-employed person. And in that exact moment, I thought, okay, I can let this be really hard, or I can just accept and adapt to the fact that there's no more going out for coffee in the morning, And it's such a small, mundane, trivial, not necessary thing. You don't have to have, nice, luxurious, expensive coffee every day. Like, there's nothing necessary about that. And it's so incredible how just kind of embracing that theme of like letting go of rigidity, okay? It just changed my world. And now it's like I save a lot more. I don't have that outlay, and I can find social experience elsewhere, with you guys or with people in my life through the phone or something. And it was really nice. So yeah, first thing to sort of sum that up, Jupiter, Pluto, we've got to kind of get less rigid, okay? Because this is interesting. Pluto and Jupiter are both planets that actually deal with abundant flexibility. Jupiter and Pluto are both actually very adaptable energies. They both deal with expansion. They both deal with transformation, regeneration. This isn't Saturn. This isn't Mars. They're conjunct too right now as I'm doing this video. But they won't stay together like Jupiter and Pluto are for the rest of the year. So actually, some of us might think, oh, wow, I'm really going to have to restrict my life with this quarantine or social distancing. I'm really going to have to pull back and get more rigid and get more like not care about what I want anymore. When in reality, we're actually having an expansion of transformative capability. It's not anything about restriction or contraction. Even having Saturn moving into Aquarius is less contracting than Saturn in Capricorn as well, although it will retrograde back. So we'll talk about that when we get there. So another kind of difficult thing about Jupiter and Pluto being together for the rest of the year is I do feel that to be like the energy of pessimism. It's like Jupiter is the optimist, and it's the, really focused optimist as well. And Pluto kind of turns that the other way. So we can definitely see the focused pessimist. And the fact that they're in Capricorn also pulls that down more into a pessimistic area. So we might just see that like optimists are sort of a rare breed during this year, or we might see that it's tough to see the glass half full. Also, I think that a lot of people will really be concentrating on the negative and really be concentrating on what's wrong. There's going to be a lot of like nitpickiness is all that I can really explain it as. A lot of like, as a coping mechanism to not having access to the same distractions and dependencies of before. People are going to like hyper cope by hyper nitpicking. Things that are not significant. So people will be very critical this year. And I want to really express that. And maybe you guys have already seen that. I already saw that this year in a new way. And I think that everyone's kind of there. You might have seen people being critical toward you in a way that they never have. People might be just very critical. So yeah, Jupiter-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn. People will get focused because Pluto is like fixed Scorpio energy, and it adds a focus to where it's at. You know, Jupiter in Capricorn, it's debilitated. Jupiter in Capricorn tends to get really focused and expansive in areas that never really needed that. So yeah, I think that people are not going to see the forest for the trees, basically, this year. That's really the best way to put it. People are going to get so caught up in like small trivialities and small mundane issues that they won't see the bigger picture, and they'll end up like losing a lot because of that. So here's the thing: self-destruction. Jupiter-Pluto conjunct. People who are self-destructive, people who are out of control of their own emotions. Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, big tantrums, big emotional solvency, big emotional like expanded emotional conceptualization as well. So again, people who aren't so healthy, people who aren't so together, are going to be more like off the deep end, basically. So here's one of the morals. There's a saying, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it's basically like, I'm sure that you guys have heard it before. It's like, beware of people who are on a path of self-destruction because they'll pull you in with them, you know? So if you can kind of identify that somebody in your life is on a path towards self-destruction, you might want to steer clear. You might want to kind of start making distance to some degree. And the other difficult thing is like, why didn't we already do that? Because the other thing about Jupiter-Pluto, and this is a channeled insight, is it's not really the introduction of anything new. I don't feel that it introduces anything new, especially in the sign of Capricorn. It's almost just like the, it comes to a certain point where it's not avoidable anymore. These facts about, you know, who somebody actually was, who somebody is in your life, what their traits as a person are finally revealed or something, but it's not new. It's just we didn't allow ourselves to see it before or something. So yeah, the person who's very self-destructive suddenly becomes you know, seen for that. The person who's like a really great philanthropist or a really great capable person becomes seen for that. It's like a truth telling. It's so truthful, the energy of Jupiter-Pluto. It's almost like exaggerated truth. I know that that's like a little bit, it's like an antonym. It's ironic to think of, but the truth will be exaggeratedly clear at this time, and it will almost be so like striking that we'll be a little bit shocked to think, you know, why did I continue? Why did I stay with that person for so long? How did this last as long as it did? Jupiter is a minor time planet. Saturn's the planet of time, but Jupiter deals somewhat with time in a different way. And in Capricorn, it's like regretting how much time you've spent at something or the futility of a certain project or relationship. That's what Jupiter in Capricorn is all about. And Pluto comes there to make that a catalyst and to make that a transformative purpose in your life. And to really then like shine light on what is there, like what are you meant for? You know, what are you good at? What are the unarguable facts of your life? If you can imagine like people walking around and denying the existence of the sun, or denying the fact that the earth is a sphere, you know, things like that. Like, it's crazy to think that people can't see some very simple truths. And this is the type of transit that really sets the record straight with things like that. And we need to apply that into our own lives as much as we can. Like, what suns am I denying in my life? What shapes am I denying in my life? Am I convincing myself that this, you know, job, project, relationship is something that it's not? And is it really simple to maybe see the truth of it? Because there's a new vantage point always with a strong Pluto transit like this. Seeing things from a new lens, seeing things from a new vantage point, seeing things the way that you've never seen them before, which is a huge blessing, undoubtedly. And of course, it wouldn't be a Pluto video if I didn't say that the expansion of the need to release or to let go is going to be magnified and important. And with Jupiter there, there's going to be like super hyper letting go of things. So yeah, foreclosures for some people, don't worry about it. If you're there, you'll figure it out. I know that it will work out for you. But even more so than that, it's like also like digestive issues too. That's going to be a thing for a lot of people. Parasites, cleanses. I did a parasite cleanse last month. I need to make a video about it. It's on my list, guys, but it really changed my world. And that was really helpful. And Jupiter, Pluto, great time to heal the gut, to heal the digestive system, or to heal anything in your body that's off. And that's, as I'm going to go ahead and start transitioning into some of the positives of this. I think that I've covered most of the negative things, but yeah, incredible healing potential this entire year, which is interesting. I mean, we have this disease, but through the duality of the paradigm, there's going to be incredible amounts of healing simultaneously. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like eating out less and being less connected with hundreds of different energies every day by being home at more, it's very like healing to the body. It's a nice needed respite. And to mirror this as well, sorry, many different topics at once. I don't know if you guys have seen, but like the canals of Venice are cleaner now. I also saw on the news the French Quarter in New Orleans here in the US is actually not very accessible, and it's airing out, and it looks so beautiful. I'm like, some of these spaces that were so crowded needed to air out. Venice, New Orleans, all of these huge population hubs were getting so dense with energy that they were basically creating like an atomic type of reaction. That's just a joke. But they were not good. I've actually visited New Orleans back in 2018, and I was in the French Quarter, and it made me very, very sick. And it was the energy of it. And I saw a video of it today, and it was completely clear there was nobody there. And it was like, and I could see it like with like the third eye ability. I could see it just airing out, and some of those energies finally leaving that needed to go so badly. So yeah, backhanded fortune, Jupiter in Capricorn, Pluto there too. It's like the cleansing, purifying, empty space introduced to places that were way over populated or way over energized, and pulling that back to what I was just speaking about. That's healing, that's the body healing. As we see spaces in this world clearing out and becoming cleansed and purified through that, that's happening inside too. So yeah, we need to make space inside. Eating, perhaps a bit less. Fasting for some people. I don't believe in fasting, but it's right for some people, and maybe it's right for everybody to some degree here. Clearing the space out, because I actually saw that. I saw that, certain places that have been too full and too overpopulated have been being healed so much by having emptiness right now. So if our gut has been way overpopulated or way too full, maybe a bit of emptiness is necessary just to clear out some of that energy. But I don't do it. I don't fast. But I may consider it actually soon, because that's been an interesting revelation for me. But yeah, don't be surprised, and I talked about this in some of the tea-chats on Patreon. By the way, join my Patreon page. I do so much over there. It's such a great value anyway. I was talking about this on Patreon, about how don't be surprised by about the time we get to May and June, hopefully, as things start to go back to what we used to consider somewhat normal, at least temporarily. Don't be surprised if your skin is a lot clearer, okay? If that thyroid problem went away, if that adrenal stress went away, despite still feeling like quote unquote stressed out. Like, so many random health problems are going to be healing this year through just meeting it like a little bit halfway. We don't have to go crazy, but just cooking for ourselves and showing ourselves that we can fill our own space and not rely on hundreds of different people every week to do it is such a self-loving concept. So the ability to cook for yourself, the ability to prioritize for yourself, the ability to fund yourself to during this time in a different way, it's so self-loving and also frustrating. I've seen a lot of people having temper tantrums about having to cook for themselves, having like meltdowns that they're going to make a few $100 less in the month, but still be okay financially, those rigidities have to go. It's like, I say this to cancers a lot when I'm doing their general readings, if I can tell there's a lot of rigidity coming in. When like a crab, it gets like hooked on to a human skin, and like they just want the crab to let go, but the crab won't let go, so they have to pull it and like tear off its claw. That's what the universe does in times like this. We can either let go and still have some amount of wholesomeness, or we can have necessary parts of ourselves torn away with the inevitability of things. So that's really what I want to leave you with today is what can you let go of in a nice, flexible, adaptable way, and what rigidity needs to be dislocated or flexibly healed during this time, because the universe is really trying to help us heal. Okay, it's really going to expand our transformative ability with Jupiter and Pluto together this entire year. It's really going to concentrate on the difficulty so that we can overcome it. And it's going to be a wealth generator for other people too. Like Jupiter and Pluto together, it's like an expansion of wealth, an expansion of new types of economy or new types of prosperity. Jupiter and Pluto is all about new prosperity. It's all about transforming the theme of prosperity. So try to not worry too much about the economy or about these old systems. Some of them will completely tank and never come back. That's totally what Jupiter Pluto is all about. It's like the permanent death of certain things or the permanent ending of certain experiences, all philosophical. I'm speaking completely philosophically there, and it's like we have to let go of those things so that we can focus our energy into creating new resources and new ways of flourishing, because those will be there no matter what. And we can actually have some degree of control, being that they're in Capricorn. Like we can kind of control a little bit, and I don't want people to like go crazy with that, but we kind of have an ability to decide what we want that to be and what we want that to look like. And there will be power struggles around that too, but I think that it will come through in an honest and clear way. And I think that we can all access the energy of the rest of this year to be so much more wholesome, so much more healed, and so much more who we are than we ever have, perhaps. So yeah, interesting. I'm going to make more videos about this because what we're going to have is Jupiter and Pluto and Saturn will all go retrograde in Capricorn, and they're all going to kind of like get caught up with each other in funny ways. So I'll keep updating you on what this transit's looking like and how it evolves and how it moves forward. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and I am putting out so much more content in the month of April. I don't know if I can do this in May in the same way because this is a lot to do. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about what I'm doing this month. So on Patreon, you get all of the 12 general readings early and ad-free, as well as their extended counterparts. And then on Saturdays, I have Tea Chats, which is basically like a bit of a podcast where I talk about what the week has been like, what the next week will be like energetically. And then I also do viewer requests, so you can leave comments on the Tea Chats and I go through each individual one and I talk about what has been brought up. So if you would like to get some insight on an issue that you're having or a collective issue, you can join my Patreon page, which I'll link below, and comment what you would like me to talk about in the Tea Chats. Also, you get early access to these standalone YouTube videos on Patreon. And these, though, come out on Tuesdays on YouTube. And then on Fridays, I have the live premieres of other standalone YouTube videos at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And we have live chats. It's a totally safe way to socialize during this time and get some of those social needs, because we do have social needs as humans. So that's a great, safe, totally distant way to connect with other people. So that's what I'm putting out for the entire month of April. We will see where we're at as we get into May to see if this needs to continue in this way. But thank you all so much for being here and supporting, and be sure to hit the like button, share this video with someone you think would enjoy it, and comment below and let me know how you feel. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. We'll talk soon. Bye.